everyone, my name is Savannah and we are back in our Sandbox park, our desert park specifically for Jurassic World Evolution 2, and this is episode 3, I believe? I'm pretty sure it's episode 3. We are just getting started with this park and there are 2 other episodes before this one, so if you've missed them, head on back and get caught up. But today we are adding the, oh my goodness, the Innovation Center? Exploration Center? What the heck is this giant building called? Now that I sit down to record, I completely forget what the heck this giant pyramid building is called. But we're adding the giant pyramid building that you can see here on screen. We are starting off with kind of plopping that down in the blank space of the kind of first area of our desert map. This building is really commonly used for like front entrance areas where an entrance to a park has a really long walkway with maybe amenities on either side, ending up at this big building as a center focal point. I wanted to incorporate it into our park somehow, but I really didn't want to use it as that main focal point right when you walk into the park. So we have kind of this dead space before the map that we're on splits off into 2 different directions, up to the right and up to the left. And I thought that filling it with this building as well as habitats that surround the outside of it would be a good way to fill the space. So the first portion of this video is going to be working on the pathing surrounding this building, and then working on a few of the habitats that will go next to it, and then really getting in and detailing the habitat that we are really going to work on today, and that's the T-Rex, the Tyrannosaurus, and the Yutyrannus. Now, in the game, the Yutyrannus and the Tyrannosaurus Rex do not like each other. However, I thought putting them in a mixed species habitat would work well. Maybe we could pretend the Yutyrannus are baby T-Rexes, or that they're just, that they do just get along. I think they look really nice in an exhibit together because of their size. And then the Yutyrannus is really well designed and I love all the colors. So they're a nice kind of contrast to the Tyrannosaurus that is more of like a blank, neutral color, at least the 2 that I have. There's one kind of deserty orangish red color and another one that is green. In each of these little like semicircles that is around the triangular pyramid building that I cannot remember the name of, the Innovation Center? I feel like it's the Innovation Center. But anyway, around the edges of that building, I really wanted to incorporate some smaller habitats, and I was going to put smaller like compies or something like that. I know we kind of already put compies and the oviraptor in the front of the park, but something small, and I was hoping that I could contain them with scenery pieces like this. However, these are too small, and I'm kind of bummed about it because I really don't feel like they're all that small. But just with the decorations and all the hitboxes of the path and the decorations around it, I can't even put a feeder or a body of water or anything like that in this little section. And so I'm a little bummed about that because I was going to try to put actual dinosaurs in each of these little semicircle kind of areas. Oh, I guess I can put a feeder. I misspoke, but I can't put any water. And so that's kind of a bummer because the hitboxes and things kind of messed everything up. So for now, we're just going to have to pretend. I think I only do 1, maybe 2 of them. Maybe I just do 1 of them. So I do have to finish decorating all of the rest around the outside of this building, but we're just going to have to imagine that they have animals in them, unfortunately, because I wasn't able to actually place anything in there. Placing down some signs just to mimic some signage that would tell you what kind of animal is in the exhibit if we could actually have one. And then moving on to some decor on the main kind of walkway, because the front edge of the park all splits from the entrance and it goes around our amenities. It goes around our Allosaurus, I think it was, that we put up there, and around our oviraptor and our hotel and everything. And then it kind of all comes back to this path back behind the Allosaurus habitat, and that's where it then splits off to go over to this building with then some more habitats around the edge of it. So right here, I am doing the perimeter of what will be the Yutyrannus and the Tyrannosaurus Rex habitat. And I ended up making it a little bit bigger than this. And I also forgot that I didn't put in any fencing, or gates rather, to any of the other habitats. So I'm just really quickly going through and making it look like people can actually get to the habitats through gates and things, and that they're not just like solid walls of fencing and people can actually drive through. I still have not done a backstage area or like a keeper or park ranger area, so I don't really have any of those buildings that those staff members would actually need. And in fact, I actually had to implement and put a hatchery back in the park because I had deleted it during last episode because it got in the way of where I wanted to put the monorail. So I had to throw that down as well over onto the side just so I could get our dinosaurs into their habitat, into their exhibit. So I still need to figure out exactly where I want to put that. I don't want to put it off for too long because I do think I want it to be more at the front of the park. I didn't want it to be right at the front because I did want it to be kind of centrally located so that it could probably be the station that services all of these front exhibits. Most of these front exhibits are carnivores right now, so I'm kind of thinking about it as like the carnivore division, and that's kind of where all the buildings will be. I'm thinking maybe behind our hotel, in between the hotel and the monorail over on the left-hand side of the park, that might actually be a good place for all those buildings. Now, thinking about these exhibits that we're kind of working on around the edge that won't have our Yutyrannus or Tyrannosaurus Rex, I'm not quite sure what I want to put in there yet. So if you do have any suggestions, do let me know down in the comment section below. Like I mentioned already, I do believe that I want to keep it to carnivores, but I'm not quite sure which carnivores. I think we should kind of mix in some smaller carnivores, not just the big guys, or maybe the big guys go all the way around the big pyramid building, or we move the Allosauruses out of where they're at and we make that kind of a mixed species, smaller carnivore exhibit and move kind of all the big guys around this center focal point. That actually might be cool if we were to take all of the exhibits around this. I think we can fit in one more around this kind of center focal point area. I could be wrong. I have to go in and see exactly where the barrier of the map is, because as I mentioned, we're building in like the first area that kind of branches off into two other areas, and there is a mountain in the middle that we are unable to build on. So I have to double check where exactly that is. So yeah, so let me know what you think about carnivore and carnivore additions. I would love to hear your ideas about mixed species habitats, as I'm really interested in creating more of those. And that way we can fit as many species in this park as possible without having to do an individual enclosure for every single one. Now, you might have seen that cut there. This new footage is actually happening way past the original footage that you just saw. But when I'm recording this part and onward, we actually have the update that allows us to have any of the different types of foliage in our single park on a desert map. So that means I now have access to the tropical plants, the temperate plants, and all of the different types of foliage. You can see me there going through for the first time and remembering that that update was implemented and that I do have access to all these different plants. So I'm really excited to make habitats that don't have to specifically match the environment that the park is built in. So for example, I'll be really interested to make a specific like alpine exhibit on this desert map. I won't be able to change the like terrain paints and stuff to match all that well, but I'm hoping that by using the foliage and the rocks that match that environment, I'll be able to make it look a lot different than the surrounding park. And so I'm interested in that as well, but also just for using those plants as decorative plants throughout the park. It's going to add so much more variety and interest to our park. I love not being locked into one specific foliage type. I think that's something that should have come a long time ago because it's such a good quality of life update. Now, if Frontier would just give us things like benches or maybe small little walk-up kiosks, I would love to have something like vending machines or smaller amenities that just are kind of like food carts or drink carts, you know, stuff that you find in a theme park. That is what I'm really missing. Stuff like trash cans. I would love those teeny tiny little detailed things because right now, when you go down into like first person mode and you walk around parks, some creators do a phenomenal job, a much better job than I do at decorating their path work. But right now, paths just seem to be a little bit empty because all of the scenery stuff that we have is meant to go alongside of it, or maybe down the center as like center focal pieces like the planters and stuff like that. I use a few of the tropical palm tree planters throughout my paths because I feel like they just fit in really well. But things like benches and trash cans and little kiosks, what if we got like a face painting kiosk? Wouldn't that be cool? Now, I don't know if I'm thinking way too outside of the box or if any of this would ever happen. All I'm saying is that I just want more detailing stuff. Jurassic World Evolution 2 has come so far from the first game, but I still think there are things that Frontier can implement just to make it that much more fun for creative builders like myself. I very rarely play the game for its management. As you all know, if you're not new to the channel, if you're familiar with my content, I just like to make pretty things. And so all the stuff that I can have to make pretty things in Jurassic World Evolution 2, I am all for it because I do think the game is very pretty. The animals are very well designed, and I just want to make them exhibits that reflect how pretty the animals are. So the fact that we can use different trees, different plants, and then different rocks, you might notice that I'm mixing both the desert rocks and the Mediterranean rocks in this exhibit just to give a little bit of variety and difference, I think is great. And Frontier just needs to keep it on coming. Keep going, keep giving us more. If you give me an inch, I'm going to try to take a mile, that kind of thing. But I absolutely love the new foliage that's unlocked with all of the different parks. In terms of the build itself, we are almost finishing up. I probably could place a few more rocks in this habitat, to be honest. I think I actually might go back and add some more rocks and some more trees, just keeping in mind that these exhibits are not really meant to be viewed from the path everywhere. And so I just kind of need to keep sightlines and viewpoints open from the viewing galleries, and everything else can be kind of not overgrown, but I can definitely add some more. So I might go back and add a few more things to this exhibit when I go in and build the next one, the one over to the right of it, when I go in and detail that. And it's really important to me that I kind of keep this project fluid like that, where I don't lock myself into just making one exhibit and start and finish, you know, in one episode. I want to be able to work on different aspects of the park. I want to be able to incorporate your feedback and suggestions and ideas and not be locked into anything. If I build something and then 2 weeks later I hate it, I'm gonna go back and rip it out and do it again. But right here we're just detailing the side of the path as if it would be viewable from the path, although the guests don't stop and interact with it, but more so just as like that double barrier, right? We obviously have like fencing that keeps the dinosaurs in, but guests would still be able and probably would run right up to that fence and maybe try to stick some fingers through, and then I would say lose their finger. Then they would lose their life basically with the dinosaurs that are in this exhibit. So just trying to create that secondary barrier to keep them off of the fence, keep them safe, and try our very best not to have any guests die in our park. Adding a few signs around as if they were information signs on the animals. That's another thing that I would absolutely love. It's like species specific information signs. Like, you know how in Planet Zoo you can place down a sign and you can select which animal it displays? That would be absolutely phenomenal if we got that for Jurassic World Evolution 2. If we got just a square, it just has to be like a square, simple sign with like a little bit of a stand, and then we're able to click on it and tell it what dinosaur to display. I would absolutely love that. But we are just about finishing up here. We're going to jump into some glamour shots at the very end, of course, where I just position the camera various places around the build and let you guys see the guests walking around. And the dinosaurs, of course, because I have not put our Yutyrannus or our T-Rex in the exhibit as of yet. And I put them in there. You can see them walk around and enjoying their habitat as much as a video game dinosaur can enjoy their habitat. And then that'll be it. That'll be the end of the video. Nice, short, sweet one today. This actually took me, I think, like an hour's worth of building, if I'm remembering right, but not too long. So it was a nice little build, and I'm going to jump into the next one and start getting to work on detailing the other side of our pyramid building. And if you remember what that's called, please let me know down below, because I feel so stupid for forgetting what exactly it's called. But I know you guys have my back, and somebody down there will let me know. But if you made it this far, it's the time of the video where I remind you to do all those YouTube things. We are blazing on past 17,000 subscribers, and dinosaur content is something that I would like to see do better on the channel. So if you've found me for the first time, welcome. Remember to hit the subscribe button, because I do cover games like Jurassic World Evolution 2, as well as Prehistoric Kingdom and the upcoming Paleo Pines. So if you are a dino fan, I definitely am bringing a few dino games to the channel, or covering them a little bit more, games that have already been on the channel. So I'd love to have you around. If you enjoyed this video, leaving a like really does help me out far more than you know, and I would love you forever if you left it on the video, a like down there. You can follow me on any of my social media channels. All those links are down in the description below, including my Discord channel if you are interested in joining the community, having a chat, sharing inspiration, or getting help with games that you need help on, as well as my Etsy store. So if you're interested in supporting the channel just a little bit more, you can do so there. And until next time, enjoy the cinematics, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye!